Welcome to the IOL Sports Show. It's the show that brings you all the big stars of the world. And we're right in the dorm room this week of Shaun Maswanganyi, South Africa's latest sprint sensation, the man who is absolutely blitz on the track. Welcome, Shaun.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic to have you on the show, all the way from Houston, Texas. As we can see in the dorm room, in the college, what's life like there in the Houston, Texas?
I mean, it's great. It's great. It's been an amazing experience for the most part. You know, it was kind of tough coming in, leaving your home country and kind of adapting to the new environment, new ways of doing things, new foods, new culture. But so far, it's been a really great experience. The way I've been able to fit in with the crowd, with my teammates, and also get along with pretty much everyone I've met. So far, I can say the college experience has been very good to me.
Have you had the chili? Have you had the chili yet? Is that the favorite Texas meal down there? Have the guys given it to you?
I'm not even a fan of chili, so I did not even try that. But for the most part, the foods I've been eating are pretty much your American takeaway franchises, and obviously some home cooked food. Like I'll cook for myself most of the time. So yeah.
I was about to say, a guy that runs as fast as you are, you got to stay away from the burgers and fries there, but strict diets there.
Of course. For the most part, I make sure of my diet. I don't eat takeaways a lot, but like every now and then I'll get something, like a cheat meal. So for the most part, I'm very diligent on my diet.
So tell us, was there a cheat meal after the other day when you absolutely scorched down the track? It's a pity. We all thought that's a new South African record on the cards, but unfortunately it was a bit wind assisted. 9.87, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
What was the feeling? What was the emotion like? Tell me, going over at that speed. I mean, you're thinking I've got the record.
So I knew when I woke up that day, I'm like, I need to do something special today. I had a point to prove, not only to myself, but to the people who support me. So when I got to that line, it was quiet, and I knew that they flipped the track because of the wind. And then I saw the wind in previous races. It's around about 1.7. It will be 2.0. Sometimes it will be as high as 3.8. So I knew it was going to be quite a windy race, but I knew if it's windy, I'm most likely going to run faster than ever I thought I would run. So with the prelim, obviously I went 10:05, and that was also slightly windy. But then, the final came, the gun went, and I literally had probably the best start I've ever had so far this season. And I knew once I executed my start, the second half of my race is my strongest point. So I just really got on it, put my feet down, accelerated. I knew by the time I got to the 80 meters that no one's really going to catch me on the field, and I blazed past the line. I was celebrating. I was so happy. I knew it was fast. So then when the time popped up on the screen, I first saw 9.8 something. I saw 9.8 something. So I'm like, did I just run that? And I was celebrating. I almost tripped and fell. I was so happy. I was excited. And then I saw the win, but I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But even with the wind, considering the wind, I would have still went a 9.99, 10.0 if there was no wind. So I mean, that's a very good indicator of where I am with my season and how much I've been able to piece my races together. So I'm looking forward to the other races I still have in store.
I watched the race afterwards, and like you said, you tipped and you fell. It wasn't even time for the open the bank celebration or what's happening? What's going on?
I mean, I don't celebrate. So that celebration, I actually got it from the NFL. I watch a little bit of American football. So then I remember back at home when I was running the times, I broke the South African record. I did the open the bank celebration. But now I got to think of something new, because people are gonna get tired of that. So literally just yeah.
Sure, the guys don't know the celebration. Show it to us, man. Come on, just pull it out there, man.
I mean, I can explain it. So basically, you go on your knee, and then you open the safe. You open the safe while putting in the code. You open it, and then when you open it, you take the money out and you put it in the back in the sack, and then you walk out because you cash out because you did something special.
Nah, you that guy. Shaun. Fantastic. Shaun,
thank you.
But that race kind of catapulted you into the minds of everyday South Africans. It was news all over the country. Everybody was like who's this guy? Is he the next Wade Van Niekerk? Is he the next Nkani Sabini? You know that. But the thing is, you've actually been coming along quite nicely. You've broken the South African junior records. You hold the African records. You were quite a hit at Tux as well. How did you land up at Houston though?
So I started off, I think it was about matric mid-year. I realized that, I need to make a decision as to whether or not I want to stay in the country and still pursue a track, which will most likely force me to go pro, or I, go to the US, go into a proper college and pretty much build my brand and expand my brand. Obviously, the bigger your brand, the more, the more influence you have, the more money, the more, pretty much you're going to have like a better, you're going to be in a better space, because obviously track is more supported here and there's more money in track here. So I had to kind of think of it, not only track, but also academically, because as much as track, is great and everything, but I still need to have a good background. So I started reaching out to like my friends who are studying here already, and I asked them like, how do they, fall into, like the universities, and do they reach out to the universities, or did the universities reach out to them? And then after that, I had a few conversations with them, and then pretty much I started reaching out to various universities, various sprint universities, let me say. So like University of Florida, University of Texas, LSU, TCU. So all these universities I was reaching out to, and then eventually, I had my top list, and then a whole lot of other offers came in from other universities throughout the US. I probably had around about 25 to 30 universities, just Division I alone. So, and then Division II, I didn't really look into, because that's not really what I wanted to. I didn't want to go there. I don't need to go there. So then I think around about 2019 December, that's when I was like, okay, I need to have my top list, my top 5 universities that I'm planning to like visit in January, in which I ended up visiting 4 out of the 5. So I visited LSU, University of Alabama, University of Houston, and then I also visited, I don't know if we'll visit, Texas Christian University, TCU. Then with that, I was already speaking to Coach Carl and Coach Burrell, obviously throughout the process of them trying to recruit me, etc.
I've got to stop you there, but did you just say Coach Carl? Did you just drop a name? Did you just drop that name there, buddy? Name dropping, Carl Lewis. Tell us about that.
So Carl Lewis, 9-time Olympic medalist.
Names like that, but call me.
Former world record holder, 9-time Olympic medalist, 10-time world champion. He's the guy, So for me to be able to be in his presence every day, for him to, just pick up the phone and just call me out of nowhere, be like, oh yeah, no, I've been thinking about this race, so forth and so forth, and show to see how much interest and, passion he has, and how much he likes me being around, liking me being in the program, etc. It's something special. And I'm grateful for that opportunity, because, not every day, a former world record holder is going to pick up the phone and just call you, and be like, oh, are you good today? So just to be in that atmosphere, it's great. It's great.
I'm gonna give you admission of, this is a complete admission here, but Carl Lewis, my ultimate sports hero. Growing up, he was my absolute everything. I was like, I want to be that guy. And I mean, you basically, you got him on speed dial, but I mean, that's the life, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, every day, as I said, I treat it like a privilege, because, even Coach Burrell as well, many people tend to forget these legends. Yeah, they're forgetting the legends, so so, just having them both, work together and helping me become, the athlete I am becoming today, and just how they've, shifted my mindset, giving me more of a winning mentality, and pretty much just handling myself a lot better. It's something to be really grateful for. It's special.
And what is he like? I mean, you talk about Coach Leroy, you talk about Coach Carl. What are they like? I mean, these guys have Olympic medals, for days, and they're chatting to these young guys. Do they speak about all the time? Is it about back in my day, or is it more like focusing on you guys?
One thing about Carl, Coach Carl doesn't fail to remind you about the past. He'll tell you, like, back in my day, because sometimes, we'll have like a very hard workout. You're like, back in my days, we were doing this, we were all dying. So I know what you guys are going through. Or you'll tell us, you guys have a lot easier. You only have 3 rounds in the 100 at a championship. Back in my days, we had 100 rounds, 200 rounds, 3 long jump rounds. So you guys really have it a lot easier. But it's like the type of banter we have, a lot of the fun we have. It's what makes practice alive. It makes the sport more fun, because essentially, it's not worth doing something if it's not fun. So I can say track and field it's been fun. It's been fun, and I want to continue having fun with it. Enjoying it with my coaches. My coaches had their time. Now they're trying to bring up stars as well, and I just love being part of that.
Shaun, and you come from St. Albans College in Pretoria, which is it's quite a very strict and rigid environment, and you're now at a US college, living in a dorm. And is it tough to balance? As we all know, we watch these movies down here back in South Africa, college life in the States. Is it all about that, or is it hard to balance that that between the athletics and the off-field stuff?
I mean, it's not that hard for me, because obviously in the school I went to, St. Albans, I was already in a boarding school. So I already had a lot to focus on, whether academically, via sports, culture. So we always had a lot on our plate. So for me to come to college, it was not really like a new experience, because I was already used to being away from home. I was already used to freedom. I was already used to dealing with everything. So it's not like I got here and, I was out and about, partying and everything. I got here focused because I've already pretty much been exposed to that type of environment before. It's not new to me. So, the college life, I can say it's challenging, it's tough, but it's great, because, it opens your eyes. You see like the different types of, people, you engage with different types of cultures. So I can say that, like, it's tough. It's not for everyone. Not many people come into college and do well, and that's the harsh reality behind it. But I've just been able to, I'm just glad that I've been able to, keep to myself and hold my own and handle my business.
Sure. What are you studying?
I'm planning to study finance.
Finance, okay. Is that the business world that attracts you?
Yeah. I've always been a business guy. I've always been more entrepreneurial minded. I've always been more of, just how business management works. So yeah, I mean, in my free time, sometimes I just be reading up about the economy. So, it makes me seem like a bit of a geek, but that's really where my heart is, my interest is. That's where it was even before track. So, yeah.
Okay. But I mean, we talk about being an entrepreneur, you basically seem to be your own type of player agent as well. Like, you've got this YouTube show going on. Tell us about that day in the life of Shaun Maswanganyi.
So with my YouTube channel, I actually started around about October. And, I'm just building my brand, my platform. And I was just playing around with it, so because people wanted to know, obviously, like, oh, now how do you live, by the way, in Division 1? And, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll show you guys. And then, I was just, because I didn't want to keep obviously posting on Instagram and, WhatsApp, there's too many people are like, I'll just make everything simpler. I'll just make a YouTube channel. And, it's been doing better than I thought. I just need to, keep updating it. So it was getting a little overwhelming, because class was demanding a lot. Track was demanding a lot, but now since I'm in the off season, I've vlogged some couple of meets, and I plan to keep everyone posted on that.
How do you keep track with the boys back home in the Kasi with the family? How do you keep track of? You miss the guys, you miss the mama's pop and all of that.
I miss everything. I miss everything about home, and my mom calls me almost every 2-3 days. Today alone, she called me. She woke me up at like 3-4 in the morning, calling me. Time zone difference. And I'm just there, I'm waking up. I'm like, it's 4 in the morning, And then, some of my friends as well calling me to congratulate me. But yeah, so, I'm always talking to my friends on WhatsApp. They have my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. So I always have, like, I'm literally a phone call away. So I don't miss them as much, but I still miss them, and I'm looking forward to seeing them whenever I go back home.
And Shaun, but back to the serious stuff there. I mean, there's an Olympics coming up in a couple of months' time. You haven't got that time yet to qualify it. How many races do you have to get it done yet? But and it doesn't bother you.
So,
it's like, I want to be in Tokyo now.
I mean, it does bother me because, like, I'm under pressure. But at the same time, I'm not trying to put myself under too much pressure. At the end of the day, I've already seen the type of, performances I've been able to put up. windy or not, and even the legal times, like I've had a pretty long season so far, and I've just keep breaking barriers and barriers. So I'm not too worried. I know that every race I keep executing, the time will come, So when it comes down to it, I feel like, if the conditions are perfect, I still have regionals within the next 10 days, and then which is going to lead towards the NCAA nationals, which is going to be in around about a month's time. So I just need to take it one race at a time. And, ASA obviously is watching, and they looking forward to me like hitting the marks. So, yeah.
And Shaun, I mean, South African athletics, particularly sprinting, is going through this golden era. I mean, you've got the guys like Wade leading the show. You've got Akani, but I mean, just recently the 4x100 they won the World Relay Championships. Guys like Tandu Lodlo, Gift, Clarence Muniai. How hard is it just to get into that relay side, but?
I mean, it's very hard. It's very hard, obviously, because you have to have the top times in the country. And I was invited to be a part of it, but I kind of had to sacrifice it because, like, I'm in Houston. Traveling restrictions to South Africa, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to compromise my collegiate season as well as my eligibility because I can only be out of school for a certain amount of time within the academic year. So there's still a lot of factors I had to consider before being part of that team. And also, I did miss the relay camp, which was in February. Again, because I couldn't really come because of travel restrictions. But for the most part, I was happy for the guys. I mean, I talked to some of the guys. I talked to Gift, I talked to Clarence, and I sometimes speak to Akani. So the relay squad looked good. It's promising. I just want to make sure that I'm still part of that rotation. And if I'm a part of the main four guys, I want to be able to go out there and show out and bring what I have. Like I bring what I can bring to the table.
I mean, those guys, having won a gold medal, they want to go to Tokyo and they want to go up against the Jamaicans. They want to go up against your mates, the Americans. To line up against those guys at Tokyo, that must be a dream.
Yeah, it is. It really is. A couple of years ago when I started track, I started track the year of the last Olympics, 2016. That's when I really started. I was like getting into track because it's actually crazy. Yeah. The way I started track was because I got beaten up. Not beaten up, but like I got beaten in this race. I got smoked. So I was like, okay, coach. I went to the athletics coach because the athletics coach was like trying to recruit me, and he was like, I kept telling him, "Nah, I'm good. I'm just good with rugby and basketball. I'm fine." And then after that, I got beaten, and then I just said, okay, I'm gonna start tracking. But even then, I was still watching Olympics. I still remember watching the 2012 Olympics back at home. And so I've always, like, when the Olympics were on, I was always watching because I always want to know who's the fastest guy, because I was always fast, but track speed, and like just general speed is different. But then obviously when you start training that natural talent, obviously it becomes something special. So just for that to happen, and I remember 2016, I was like, okay, yeah, I see myself being there one day. I just gotta make sure I put in the time, I put in the effort, because my coach said, believe it or not, you can be something special. You just need to believe in yourself, believe in the training, and basically putting yourself out there, and time will come and you'll see.
You say Rio 2016. Do I take it for granted that Wade van Niekerk is the inspiration? That Wade is he's the source. He's the guy that every young South African wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Wade do that out of lane 8, he beat the odds, and that's what I could kind of relate to as not only as an athlete, but just as a person in general. I've been through so much adversity. I've beat so many odds, and just to see another guy, from Cape Town, came from the bottom, and he's living it up like that, putting on the whole world, like putting a show on for the whole world like that. It does something special to everyone. I know a lot of kids were motivated. I was motivated. It drove me to take track more seriously. It made me believe in myself more because, anyone can do it. Anyone in Mzansi can do it. And it's just really about, staying diligent to yourself, being patient, and being dedicated. And really, the sky's the limit.
We from Mzansi, we all have our stories. We all have our challenges. What's the biggest obstacle that you needed to overcome to be where you're from, basically from youth through high school to where you are now?
I mean, when I look at the background I grew up in, for the first couple of years, I grew up in Soweto. So township, and it was very hard. Like, I didn't really have big dreams like that, because it's hard to have big dreams when everyone else around you is kind of like, small-minded or has a loss of hope. So just growing up, dealing with it, seeing the people I grew up with and where they are now and where I am, it's eye-opening, and it makes me realize how privileged I've been able to the privilege I have, because my mom, obviously, things worked out for her, and then obviously we worked our way up, and I just kept going to a better school like every couple of years, and eventually I got a scholarship to go to St. Albans College, and things really took off from there. So I always say that faith, I always believe in faith, and destiny can't be changed. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I mean, in the beginning, even then, I didn't want to go to like the school I don't want to go to St. Albans College originally. I wanted to actually go to St. John's and Jeppe Boys, but then I ended up staying there. I didn't even ask for a transfer at that point. And I just think about how crazy it is that I found the coach I found in my high school. He was a great coach. I still talk to him every day, and just how destiny prevailed. He was a great coach. He coached me. I worked my way up. I just kept getting better and better, improving and improving. And even when I transitioned out of high school, I was still able to drop fast times. Many people have that hard transition between high school and when they're out of school, because they're changing coaches. And just for me to be able to face so many adversities, from injuries to like financial issues, and to find myself where I am now. Many people don't know my story, because I just go out and share it only when people ask me like, oh, can you tell us your story? And that's when people really understand, like, no one really has it easy. And to be honest, it's hard to have it easy as an athlete, because you face so much, and not even just as an athlete, just a general person. So I'm always grateful for my experience, because everything is a learning curve.
Shaun, it's fantastic listening to you. I mean, you're such a young guy, but I can hear the experiences that you've been through has given you a sense of maturity to live on your own there in the States and do what you do. And you're an inspiration to the next generation already coming through. You might be still looking up at the guys that you like Wade and Akini, but there are youngsters coming through at national champs looking at Shaun Maswanganyi saying, I want to be like him. I want to go to Houston, Texas. I want to be coached by Carl Lewis. So that's what you're doing. And that's fantastic. Keep flying the flag for Mzansi. And we hope to see you in Tokyo. Thanks for the time, bud.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, all the best, bud. And we'll definitely be looking forward to that Olympic time that gets you a ticket to Japan.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.